The general tone that I've realized since the motorcycle accident was karma's huge. You know, I don't look at it from the religious thing. I just know that I feel like the universe gives you back what you put into it. If you can put people in a position to do better and you're trying to help everyone around you and you can be a positive influence for everyone and a unifying influence for everyone, that good things will come to you.
Welcome back to the Deep Homie Guide to the 21st Century. Here I am with my two good friends and my cousin Tom Anthony Jr., P. Daddy Woods. It's me, Deep Homie K. Here we are. Again, Syracuse, New York. What is the date, boys?
March 7th?
7th?
Yeah.
March 7th.
First I got it right.
First question answered correctly.
Yeah, those winter days, they drag on.
Yeah, man. Yo, here we are again at the Deep Homie Guide. This is a variety show focused mostly on future, technology, and ancient wisdom. But today, I'm so excited to announce that my cousin has decided to come on. The founder of Max Flow, Seamless Gutters, Tom Anthony Jr., former adrenaline junkie. This man used to race snowmobiles, high-powered freaking machines, motorcycles, V8s, who knows, tuning them up with his pop. Man, this guy was crazy, but this man's life has changed from all that, and now this man is a local Syracuse business owner. Freaking awesome guy, has a huge crew, guys, pays super awesomely. This is the next generation business owner right here. This is Tom Anthony Jr. What's up, dude?
How you doing, Karam? Excited to be on the podcast. First time ever for me, obviously. Very far out of my realm, but excited to add something to the repertoire.
Yeah, man. P. Daddy Woods, how you doing over there, brother?
Good, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just think of all the gutter puns that we're going to be able to use.
Oh, there's so many gutter puns. Many gutter puns.
What's a gutter ball?
Yeah. So many.
Man.
Yeah.
So I guess like one of the reasons why I brought you on today, Tom, was because you have like talked about how in your life it's been such a radical change. Like I guess I have known maybe Tom Anthony Jr. number 2 or something. Kind of, not really.
2.0.
2.0, right? Because you had a traumatic like head injury at one time in your life, and you feel like your whole life trajectory, everything like switched around, changed around somehow a little bit.
I mean, I would say so. I was able to learn how to self-reflect, and that was a huge tool now for me to be able to just sit back and think and look back and reflect on how lucky you are, or how you could have done things better, or even where you want to be. What could I have done to be better the next day? I used to probably carry a lot of negativity with me, and it's partially because I didn't like exactly where I was at in my life, and I felt like I could be doing more and doing something different, and just ended up where I am now. But every day you just try to get better. That's what I do,
Yeah, man. Well, and I guess Paul, like it's weird because like our second podcast we talked about in your life, one of the bigger things that made a big difference was getting hit in the head a zillion times, and all of a sudden your trajectory changed from sort of like sports and stuff, sort of more towards the church. It seemed like.
Yeah, or music and some kind of performance art.
Music. Yeah, dude. So how long's this Max Flow business been going on? Seamless Gutters.
We've been doing it. This is our 6th year now. We started in 2014 with a focus on quality, and it took off, and we're growing every day. We're making a lot of big moves, and
hell yeah,
trying to come through for the home team, coming through for Central New York,
coming through for a lot of the local guys, man.
Yeah,
a lot of local contractors that
get a bad look sometimes. Get a lot of bad raps going on around here.
Well, we're going through like a COVID right now. This is a hard time for a lot of people. Are keeping these guys employed. This is so cool.
Yeah, we've been able to thrive in a time that a lot of people aren't thriving, which I'm blessed, very blessed for this.
Are you a millennial?
Technically, I am. Represent for millennials, by the way. It's not all like that. Get out of here.
What do you mean?
You know.
No, but like,
I hear that I'm not hard working, yada, yada, yada.
Well, you hear that, but you also hear that millennials, we're another generation that wants to make a difference, and you're actually doing work in the world while also actually talking the talk and like actually like paying your guys and not being like
trying to build a culture where guys want to go.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Trying to build a culture that people want to be.
That's all. That's what it's all about.
Is that like? But is it kind of like one of the stipulations of I want to have really quality workmanship, or like, well, then you're going to need to pay for quality workers. Like,
oh yeah, that's something that we run into daily. Yeah, and especially it's accelerated since COVID, as I knew it would. people are losing their jobs. Guys that were, maybe they were a carpenter in high school or they had like a side job. Now they don't have a job and the construction market's booming and they jump in. And now you're competing with guys that don't have insurance, that aren't warrantying things, aren't doing the right job, aren't bidding the right job, selling based on price. That can be frustrating. But if you can...
So you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, and then some.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And it can be frustrating sometimes.
Well, that's amazing, too, because this is a millennial businessman. Like, this is not greed. This is you doing your vision while also being wicked conscientious of what you're doing in the world. And helping other people out who are helping you, that's what more could you ask for, really?
I guess like the general tone that I've realized since the motorcycle accident was the self-reflection, and then also like karma's huge. I don't look at it from the religious thing. I just know that I feel like the universe gives you back what you put into it. And if you can put people in a position to do better, and you're trying to help everyone around you, and you can be a positive influence for everyone and a unifying influence for everyone, that good things will come to you.
And you feel like that was like something that was knocked into your head? Do you think you didn't know that before? Or it just all came together?
I think it was more like I was able to spread my wings. Like I was able to spread my wings, and I really was able to look back at my life and look at the mental state I was in. I mean, I held a lot of resentment. I was a more aggressive person at the time, and I mean, I wasn't running around like fist fighting people, but it was just, I wasn't happy to be where I was at, whereas I probably should have been. I was fortunate.
Well, that's funny too, because like part of my whole spiel I've been giving on the Deep Homie podcast here and there has been like, when you actually chase your own vision, you actually are helping the whole world a little bit, because like you're actually like engaging that passion of your own and following your own dream, and when you do that, you're actually something clicks, right? You're happier now.
Yeah, you are.
Even if things weren't going as well as they were, which by the way, for the listeners, Max Flow is expanding right now. It's doing great. Like you guys got tons of jobs, you got tons of guys employed. This is really awesome. Great cutter service. Look them up on Facebook. They do really good jobs.
Yeah.
This is no cap. This is great. But like, I don't know when you actually. But this is better than you working for somebody else because it affected your mood. It affected the way you affect other people.
Yeah.
It's like a chain effect. It's a domino. It's a butterfly effect when you do what you actually want to do.
Yeah, and also like, so there's like, you got to work 70, 80, 90 hours a week. And
you work a lot.
Yeah, we do work a lot. But I guess what I'm saying is like the old school business mentality is just all day, every day. Like almost you don't want to enjoy life. Like if you're enjoying life, man, what are you doing? You're failing. You're not doing it. You got to be out there hustling all day, every day. And I do hustle, but there's also, we try to have a balance, and that's something, and don't get me wrong, for the first few years, it was all day, every day. That sacrifice in the beginning was, there'd be times when we wanted to go do something. Well, guess what? You don't get to do those. Or we'd be sitting on the couch and my phone's ringing 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. People are texting me, and it still happens to this day. We have a bigger infrastructure now, so I don't handle it the same way. But that was a lot of big steps, and that was a lot of planning, a lot of risk. It can be very scary.
But also, like one thing that's interesting too is that you picked something. How did you manage? I'm curious now. Thinking about like the gutter business. It's to maybe a lot of ears. It's a little bit like random, almost. But like you picked maybe what you might call like a niche. Yeah. Where like you pick something, you happen to have a lot of the skill set. You put it together. You used YouTube. You had a lot of skills already. Whatever. Like it all coalesced. You found something that was a little bit different. I don't think that most people necessarily think. A lot of people, first of all, in our generation, at least I and maybe P, you fell on this, where just go to college, like go to high school, go to school, and then go to college. And for me, what's next was I was a little bit weird, but like not everybody. I don't know. You go to college, then you kind of decide what to do. But for you, you kind of broke the mold. You kind of went into an entrepreneurial direction. You went straight into the workforce, and you did something different. And sometimes I feel like life, maybe karma, rewards people that decide to do something different. You went into gutters. How did you know that gutters was going to be fruitful, or that gutters was going to be a niche?
A lot of research, man.
You did research.
But it kind of feels like...
Yeah, I mean, there was months...
Because you were never like dreaming, like you didn't at night, like, oh, one day I'll be a gutter man.
No, young Tom Anthony did not. Like, young Susie was going to be an astronaut. And, young Billy was going to be a doctor. And I was like, you know what? Let's go do gutters.
Yeah,
like that's not what it was. No, it was.
Yeah.
I never really, I mean, thinking back on now, I don't really ever thought I had like any aspirations to be a certain profession. Yeah. I really didn't. I just always knew that I needed to do
hustle,
something.
you know how to get things done.
I don't know, really. I mean,
pick things up, put things down.
You never had because you're like, oh, I'm going to sell cars, now I'm going to go work on job sites, now I'm going to go manage job sites.
Yeah.
You never had anything where like, oh, I don't know, I think eventually I want to do blank. This is what I want
No,
to do.
It was like a be water situation, pretty much. It was the old,
thing is, it's not like, man, I got this passion, I just want to write poetry. It's not one of those things you're like, I want to be wealthy and I want to live comfortably, I want to do
you were
things.
like, I want to have my own thing.
Yeah, I want to have my own thing, too.
It was like I want to have my own thing.
Yeah, okay, fine. So maybe rich isn't quite the right word, but
let's not kill ourselves here. Yeah. I mean, it's like, that would be like a rock star saying they're not rock stars because of women.
Okay, I'd say that 80% of people or more want to have freedom.
So my Lebanese side makes it really hard for me to do anything based on if it's not income, like producing.
Okay.
Just to have like a spot study.
Yeah, full disclosure, I'm over here thinking about getting like a crypto PC to just start freaking mining Bitcoin. Exactly. So I understand, but everybody has this urge now. We're the roaring 20s now. The stocks are going, the GME is going. Everybody wants to get their own personal finance up.
Let's go.
And it's not bad if you can do it and be either neutral or in your case, I think you're helping the world because you're providing not only a service to the community, but you're also conscientiously paying your workers well. You're doing a great thing. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Your whole business is hitting a home run in my eyes, like in terms of all the bases covering.
Trying. We're trying.
Like,
I
don't know how to criticize that. There's nothing to say. I'm really happy, and that's why I'm spotlighting a small business entrepreneur who happens to be my cousin. Because it's so awesome.
I look at when I'm doing like a budget or a cost analysis for me is like how to take less from how to give the guys less, how to give the producers for you less. That's a very strange, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there's guys that aren't worth as much, or there's guys that don't do their job as well, and they don't, or they start to slow down or they fall off. I mean, it's not a perfect world, but for me, part of growing is always looking at how can everyone else grow too? The whole thing has to grow. You have to offer guys growth.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, if you want to keep good guys that have other options, you got to offer them more than what everybody else is offering them. You got to offer them a future. You have to offer them benefits. You have to offer them retirements, from benefits. You have to offer them retirements, A guy anymore that is good with his hands, that can critically think, is a very rare thing. So it's not like, when our parents were growing up in the 60s and 70s, even the 50s, everybody had a trade. Like, that was the fallback, right? Everybody had a trade. Your dad was a barber. My dad was a butcher at one time. Like,
true.
Uncle Joe, he was a bartender at one time. Like, everybody had, they're all tradesmen anyway, but you always had a trade to fall back on.
I have a video business.
Yeah, you have a video business. That's what I'm saying.
So pictures plug.
But I mean, once upon a time, and like back then, you had a million people that knew how to build things. Mm-hmm. So their labor was worth, everybody could do it. Their labor was worth a little less. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you're in demand. Guys are in demand, So you gotta take care of them.
Because there were so many people that followed that straight and narrow path of going to college. You're saying that finding contractors and people who actually have skills with their hands is harder almost. Almost rarer a little bit. And you're paying those guys a premium almost. Yeah,
I mean, you have to. I mean, it's the last thing you should look at is how to give your guys less when you're putting together. And for me, in my eyes, small business, a successful business analysis would be unfair to think that that's where you should take the money from.
And so how many guys do you have on your labor force at this time?
Currently we have 6. We actually just took on a couple more.
Nice.
Another company, actually, a pretty reputable company in the area, went out of business, and a couple of their guys actually reached out to me, which was excellent. So, but I chalked that up also to good marketing and a good reputation. Guys, it's like the Tom Brady effect. Like, guys want to go, guys want to go to the place that, they're going to feel comfortable, get taken care of, and have the best option.
And as a longtime Buccaneers fan,
I am before
the
Tom
most
Brady.
Vindicated individual of 2021 has been Tom Anthony Jr.
Yes, man. It's been
After
great.
so much time, dude.
Yeah. So, Ian called me Lottery Tom. It's an old Lottery Tom. I was a Tom Brady, or I was a Buccaneers fan since
long
before Tom Brady. But man, 2020 was a wild year for the old Max.
And I hopped on the bandwagon with him.
Yeah.
But I was also happy for the Bills. I was also happy for the Bills getting all the way to the championship. So this is so cool, Tom, because this show too, like, it's gonna be like featuring some of the most interesting thinkers and people that we can get on to our show who are making a difference in the world around us. Because, why not feature the local cool guys? And like, I'm so excited and blessed to know Tom, because we really weren't that close for some reason. Like, just our family, whatever. He also lived growing up in Florida. Partially, I don't know. He's older than me. Yeah. And we kind of connected over the course of the last couple of years.
Yeah, probably the last 2-3 years I reached out, and I've been trying to do it with all the family, and it's important. The older the older you get, just keeping, those are the people you can rely on. Those are the people that you want to keep around,
Yeah, for sure. And also it's kind of like, I don't know how your family is, P. Daddy Woods, but like family-wise, like I know a lot of the older generations of our family in particular have unfortunately like died off. Like our grandmother Siti, our Jiddi, our aunts and uncles like that we shared. So some of those old institutions that keep a family together, like for example, like Siti would sometimes have like a Sunday brunch or whatever. So everybody in the family comes over, but once these older relatives pass away, it's like you gotta form new traditions.
Yeah. No, I agree, and we've been trying to do that with the family, which is a lot of fun. And I remember back I grew up out on a farm in Granby, which is where our family came to.
Yeah, and Granby's like just Fulton, so it's 20 miles west,
calm
northwest.
Down, Fulton. It's Granby. It's Granby.
I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
It's Granby. I've never heard of Granby.
I'm just trying to familiarize the world deep homies of where this place is located in the world.
Granby is about 10 minutes. 10 minutes north of Baldwinsville. So
beautiful countryside, beautiful stuff.
Beautiful countryside. Yeah. So we grew up on a farm, and it was a great upbringing. When I was out there, we had a lot of fun. Had a lot of had the snowmobiles and the dirt bikes and just open air. It was just open air.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have your own school district in Granby?
No, I actually went to Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yeah, we were in Phoenix.
Wow.
So also, in retrospect, I had a lot of fun growing up. And Phoenix was a great school district. Maybe 100. I don't even know. I think I might have graduated with like 180.
Yeah.
I think that might have been.
Yeah.
Not a big.
So, okay. So.
And I had multiple head injuries. When I was growing up, we were always racing dirt bikes and snowmobiles, and it was always just something outside physical, something that was probably dangerous. Even playing basketball, football, it was just, we always had like a go hard attitude, and things happen when you're doing that kind of thing,
Absolutely.
That's like one of those things, like for the Deep Homie gang that maybe lives in a city or lives in a different part of the world where this is sort of not. Like up here in upstate New York, there's so much just like people who ride snowmobiles and dirt bikes, and just they ride these motors, man. It's like, I used to look so forward when I was younger to going over to your dad's house, Tom's house, just like I could ride snowmobiles. Like, this is like the best bumpkin shit. This is the best fucking shit ever.
Well, it really was too, because
it's so fun.
We were racing snowmobiles at a high level. We were a factory players race team, so like we had like snowmobiles dropped off in our yard from the factory to just go race and represent them.
So how like old were you when you first got introduced to like riding a snowmobile or a motorcycle?
As long as I can remember, we were riding snowmobiles.
Yeah.
That was for real. And this was before like the days of like super PC, like, rap kids and like, and every bit of safety gear you could have. Like,
you just out there naked?
No, like it was more like this. It was just like when you would send the kids outside. Like that snowmobile might be a little bit too big, but he'll figure it out. Like that kind of attitude,
I am not. I don't have a lot of firsthand knowledge with this stuff. So like, I just remember feeling like anytime people were riding dirt bikes and stuff, there was always somebody who had like taken a lawnmower engine and reworked it so that it was.
So
it always just seemed like
these things
seemed really backwards.
Because Uncle Tom had a whole race team. So they tuned and built these engines.
Yeah.
This is out of control, man. So
it was pretty cool.
I would like if I end up settling here, so you have settled here in Syracuse, New York.
I love it. I am Mr. Central New York.
You're Mr. Central New York. You've made your way here, and you love doing this every winter. It's one of the biggest perks. Just like some people like going skiing or snowmobiling, which I was snowboarding. Like I like doing that. But have you ever gone skiing or snowboarding?
I snowboarded down like some. Like I went over to my buddy's house.
No, but not like in one of those mountains around here.
I wanted to do it. Nicole and I have been talking about it.
There's so many fun things up here in the Alpine winter.
I know, man.
It's great living up in the cold. It sucks that it's cold, but there's so many perks. You can't do this in Miami.
I like you. I travel a lot, and I had considered leaving here, and I've done the research. I've lived other places. I lived in Florida for, I don't know, probably a total of 7 years of my life. I still have a ton of family there. I still have a ton of roots. But as far as I'm concerned, I live in the greatest place.
It is nice here.
I love it. I love it here.
Plenty of outdoor space, green birds and bees, man. Everything's flying around. Everything's alive up here.
That's what a lot of people don't get. That's what a lot of people don't get when they go. I've met people that say, "Well, there's nothing going on in Central New York." It's kind of the point. Like
Yeah.
you get all this beautiful fresh air. You get the beautiful scenery. You have the Adirondacks right here.
Yeah.
You have wine country.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best wine countries in the world. Upstate New York has. You have all the Finger Lakes. You have got Buffalo. You've got a great sports franchise there. You have Canada. I mean, you can be in Toronto in 3 hours. You can be in Montreal 4.5 hours.
Oh, and you and Nicole take advantage of this.
Man, that's one of our favorite things. Our favorite thing is Canada.
Yeah,
we got another country right there.
They slide up to Montreal. They go down to
it's a lot of
Florida.
I feel like you're just listening. You're like, oh, you guys say there's nothing to do, but there's a lot of air to breathe.
No, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we got one of the best places to get drunk in the area because when you're not doing anything, you get bored.
No, man, this is
and if nobody's apologized to you in a while, you can go to Canada. Like,
But the thing is, like, have you done that before? Can you go up through the Tug Hill on a snowmobile, like, and just keep going? Can you cross the border or not?
I don't.
I think people do that though. Some people.
I don't know. I'm sure you could.
I've heard about that.
I don't know. I haven't.
I don't know. But you go on the Tug Hill and you're like snow machine.
We have like a side by side. We go up there and ride around. That's another thing too. I mean,
describe the side by side.
It's like a dune buggy, a Polaris Razor for those of you that are like versed in it. It does not have tracks. It's like a dune buggy.
Okay.
Think of Mad Max.
Got you. Yeah. Now I'm on board.
Yeah. No skulls.
You got to take me for the side by side.
No silver spray paint.
No, none. Although that should be a thing. We should go marauding. We considered it at the beginning of COVID. Like we might have to start marauding. This is what you do.
No, we don't need a maraud.
I mean, it's just kind of a fantasy, you know.
Yeah.
Seen enough Mad Max movies. I had goggles.
Yeah.
We were ready with some big goggles. Maybe a vest.
Wow.
Like
I think the other day when I was at your house, Uncle Tom was talking the newest snowmobile edition, right? It was 650cc, pretty big engine for right. That's pretty big for a little snowmobile.
The farm has been up in their snowmobile game over there. My brother and my father have been doing the snowmobile thing. They seem to be getting right into it. My father actually went up to Tug Hill riding the other day. Him and Gabe, they were all excited with the new snowmobiles. It's awesome.
So when you were younger, not just snowmobiles, and I feel like intrinsically snowmobiles are maybe like a little safer, you know what I mean? Just in the way that like hypothetically you would land on the snow if you were to fall off or something versus say like a motorcycle, but you were riding those those motorcycles as well.
Yeah,
growing up.
Yeah, and we rode a lot of dirt bikes growing up, 4-wheelers.
Dirt bikes, 4-wheelers.
I didn't race that much competitively.
Did you said your dad organized a team?
Yeah, but that was just like training for snowcross season. We just did that.
So that was
free ride or trail ride.
Oh, you weren't on the team, like you didn't race?
Snowmobiles.
No. Snowmobiles, yes.
Yes.
Dirt bikes.
Yes.
We just did that as we.
So like, what's like a race like snowmobiling, dude?
It's like 10, 11 sleds. Depends on how big the gate is. They line up, and it's like, have you ever seen motocross? Right.
Yeah.
So it's like motocross, but on snow.
Yeah.
So it's just closed course racing.
Oh, closed course.
Yeah, it's closed course racing. I mean, there are like other disciplines, obviously. There's like cross country, which is much more popular now than it was back then. But, you know, it was just 12 sleds start off in the line. You race towards one corner or one jump. And then once you get to the first corner, you know, your order plays out. And then at that point, it's whoever's the smoothest and, you know, willing to put it on the line.
Yeah.
You almost have to be a little loose.
You ever need to like brake when you're going really fast? One of the things, like, can you brake in snow really easily?
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's not a lot of like cool. Everybody should be braking in the same locations. It's not like you know, you're sliding in the corners and you know you
seems so cool.
Life hacks.
Yeah.
Okay, so life hack has been decided that if you live. We're gonna add to the board. Where's the board? Right.
Do you have a deep homie board?
If you,
this is a very small board. This is a very small board.
I thought it was gonna be impressive, and it wasn't.
Wow, that's the board. We gotta get you a board.
All right, if you live, if and only if, right? That's a logical thing. If and only if you live in
well, they're just gonna tablet.
Northeast United States or similar climate.
Yeah,
I've seen phones that are bigger, dude.
Hey, shout out to Cape Cod as well. Also great Northeast thing.
In winter. All right, we've come up with a new. Congratulations, man! Your life hack has been entered into the encyclopedia.
Buy a snowmobile.
Deep homie life
I don't
hacks.
own a snowmobile.
Well, I know. I didn't say buy one. I said just I said
ride
the verb
one.
snowmobile. It's what you do.
Got you. It is what you do up here. You gotta take advantage of the snow thing.
And I don't do this. That's why I'm sad.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sad.
But
like I've never every winter. I'm not sad. I'm great. But every winter I complain up here. I'm like, oh man, because I can't skateboard. Blah blah blah. It's cold out.
Once you get your board out, I have another life hack. Leave Central New York for 2 weeks in the winter. Put that on there too. that's a great way to manage it.
2 week respite in the middle of February.
No, I thought it's two distinct weeks, right?
You
it's
could do 2 straight.
Oh no,
and you
it could be 2 straight. No, it's not enough. 2 straight's not enough.
We prefer a breakup.
Yeah, you got to break it up because then the tan wears off. The vitamin D effect just lowers.
Yeah.
Diminishing returns.
Yes. Yeah.
You need it. You
do need
and it's
it.
hard this year with COVID because you really can't leave so easily. But man, yeah, because the sun, you need it. It rejuvenates your spirit.
Yeah.
So that's one of the hardest things. A lot of people know about that, right? Seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah.
If you don't get enough sun, they seem to connect it to that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely do. And we take beauty of my businesses. Obviously, we get locked out because of weather sometimes, so we're able to take off in the winter for a couple weeks and do our thing.
All right, so cool. All right, so we're getting to know Deep Homie Tom over here. So how else would you describe how your life changed? I know you started to. So okay, you were living a pretty fast and wild existence growing up.
Yes.
Out there in Granby, upstate New York.
Yeah, I suppose.
At least in terms of like the sports, extreme sports. You were also into BMX, right? You were doing
a bit. A bit. Yeah, the snowmobiles. We did the snowmobiles, the dirt bikes.
You could do like wheelies and whatnot. You were pretty good.
Yeah,
you could do tail whips, I thought, or something.
I mean, not a flying tail whip, like on the land. I did
but you weren't doing double backflips, but you were like good.
I feel like I'm getting too much credit for being mediocre or something.
Tom,
so when you won the X Games, the 3rd or 4th time.
You were the first person to do the 900.
Yeah, no.
I wanted to ask what your aspirations were. Was it just, no, man, I'm having a good time, or was there higher aspirations with that?
I guess I liked riding snowmobiles. I liked doing it, and I told my father one time that I wanted to compete, and he had already been building snowmobiles, and he was super into it. And then we just went racing, and then it turned into like really racing. And then by the end of it, I had enough of it, and I was just ready to go off on my own. This is towards like the end of high school. It was a huge commitment, and I wasn't having a ton of fun with it anymore. Like I just moved on. I moved on, and then
So by the time you started your work life, So by the time you started your work life, you really weren't as much spending time like you were when you were a kid racing motorcycles and racing. This is a different transition in your life before you hit your head. Your work life is different.
So this was like towards like the middle of high school, and I had moved around a lot. I went to school in Phoenix until like 2nd grade. Yeah. And then my mom and dad got divorced. I ended up moving to like Liverpool. So I went to Liverpool lived in Bayberry from 2nd grade to like 4th grade. Then I ended up moving to Orlando. Yeah. And
this is all before you're in high school.
All before I'm in high school. So then I moved down to Orlando for 3 years.
All right. So just a quick interjection. Difference between just like being upstate New York culture, whatever, your experience versus going down toward Orlando with your mom after your parents had like a divorce.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that time, it was like culture shock. Like, figuratively and literally, it was like culture shock. I went from upstate New York, farm school, and just generally Liverpool. I mean, it's a nice school. Ended up in Kissimmee, so like the land of Disney. And it was a lot of different racial undertones.
Really, a lot of racial undertones.
Yeah, very, very segregated.
Really?
Yeah, it was very segregated. I mean, this was in 2000. Oh, I always use artists who died. So this was 1996. I remember Biggie died. So
Rest in peace, Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, so I remember Biggie died. So this was like 1996.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It was after Biggie, but before Left Eye?
It was probably right between Biggie and Tupac. So
rest in peace.
Yeah.
Biggie and Tupac, man. Repping East West out here.
Yeah. So I moved down there, and then I was down there for a little bit.
Okay, so you had lots of fun growing up, but then you went to Orlando. Difference between upstate New York and Orlando?
I mean, first of all, just literally the rule thing. I mean, up where I'm from, you could just do wild things, get in no trouble. You're like your own government. You know what I mean? You were just in your middle of your acreage doing what you wanted to do. There wasn't, you've seen the same people. You've got your little crew that you roll with. Then you go down there, and it's just, there's a lot of things happening.
Well, it's like a lot of people too, so there's not much land.
Exactly, yeah. Like the priorities were different. I went from being able to just, go outside and explore to now. There's a beach, obviously. When you're down in Florida, there's springs, there's a beach, but it wasn't as accessible. Yeah. So that can lend itself to, different sets of problems, different sets of circumstances. Yeah.
So you got arrested a lot?
No, I actually. This might be unbelievable to a lot of people. I've never seen the back of a cop car, ever.
Me either.
I never have.
Believe it or not.
I've never seen them.
Cheers to that. Have you been in a cop car?
No.
Cheers,
no.
boys.
No.
Been in
Man,
Ecuadorian prison.
nice boy-
Never-
deep homie nice boy club.
New York story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Deep Homie Nice Boys.
Yeah.
We got to get a guest who can say, all right, so we have a request from the Deep Homie podcast. If anyone can say they've been in the back of a police car, whoever calls first, you're allowed to be on the podcast. We got to have a different experience.
I think it should go.
Because I know Mike Hines is not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my guy is not.
Maybe you should
Hines
get a bonus for repeated
does the right
backs of
thing.
cop cars, but only up to a certain limit. Like,
Yeah,
I
up to a limit.
I don't need like 15.
Yeah, so like
got
what?
three?
Or it depends on the nature of the charge as well.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing. I'll call my lawyer about
domestic
it. But in the
violence
end,
can't. Yeah. No.
nothing
domestic-
canceled.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like, oh man, it's cool. What was it like?
Yeah, it's like-
well, my hands were bloody. Like, no.
Whoa, Bessie.
It's not gonna be a good
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Well, they call me red-handed. With what?
It's more ignorance down there.
Down
And
there. Well, you see ignorance everywhere. We're not trying to be prejudiced in any way, shape, or form. But
it was
in
just
your
kind of more
experience,
concentrated.
It was a concentrated dose
Concentrated
outside
dose.
in this particular place. What was it called again? Outside of Orlando.
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee.
Florida.
Do you like
Florida.
Kissimmee?
And
Do
you
you
know
go
what?
back to
There's
Kissimmee?
plenty.
Do you like it? Or you
I don't
go back?
know.
You
My
don't
brother
go back
lives
anymore?
outside of it now. He lives out in St. Cloud, and I see him frequently.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't hold like contempt for it. It's not like I just. I find that where I live, I really enjoy, and I've traveled all over. I was a construction superintendent, so for 7 years before I started my business, I traveled all over the country, including Canada, and just managed projects.
So this is like the last. This is the last stage, kind of, right?
That
Or
was
the
the
stage
last.
before the quote unquote transformation kind of thing. Like this is you're working after high school. You decide not to go to college. You decide to get into the labor market.
Yeah, and shout out to Tom Anthony Sr. because he was way ahead of the curve, and he had told me, I had never really had an interest in going to college. I had always worked a lot when I was done snowmobile racing, so this was like, I don't know, like sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
I always had 2 or 3 jobs in high school, and I was just always a worker. I liked to work. I took an interest in business. I took an interest in the way things were done. Sometimes probably more than people saw fit, probably beyond my pay grade, but I just always had an interest in what was going on. So regardless, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I always just was okay at making money. I was okay at making my way around and finding jobs and.
And I always say your side of the family is just. We talked about the snowmobiles, we talked about the motorcycles and all that, but you're really good at building stuff, putting things together.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's what we did out there. We lived on a compound and we built. When I was growing up, my father being a construction man, and the whole family really. I mean, we have a lot of entrepreneurs in our family that are construction men, and I mean, you would die before you pay somebody else to do it. It's just not
Maybe that's
like
just the Lebanese part of us.
That's double whammy.
Shout out
of,
to the homeland.
Yeah, shout out to the homeland.
Yeah. We got to go there someday, hopefully.
Travel advisories are
chill
tough
out,
right now.
If things ever chill out in the Middle East, we got to go there.
Karen was over for dinner, and we say, you know what? We both like to travel. We should go to the homeland. We should check it out. Look up the travel advisories. Oh, I didn't even know that the government spoke like that about places. I was like, oh, no.
Well, one of the...
like, I really didn't even know that they said.
Well, one of the major political parties in Lebanon is one of basically, kind of considered an enemy of the United States because they're allied with Iran.
Yeah.
Hezbollah.
Yes. I love traveling. I tend not to go to places where they're like, this third of the country is tight. Like, you'd be all right there.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. It
Stay
sucks.
above 14th Street.
Yeah.
It very much,
good.
it very much sucks when you're...
Below that, they're beheading people on
It
soccer
very much
fields.
sucks when your family homeland is like kind of unvisitable. From an American's point of view, a little bit. I mean, people go there and it's mostly good in general, but there's huge potential just because of all the instability in the Middle East.
It's beautiful there too,
It's too
which
bad.
is unfortunate.
It's so beautiful. It's got that classic Mediterranean climate. You could compare it only pretty much to somewhere like California, really.
Yeah.
In the United States.
Yeah.
In terms of the climate.
Somebody was just telling me that.
Mountains and desert.
Mountains and
coastline.
northern Lebanon is very cold. It can be very cold.
Well, they got some really high. Well, actually, I'm not really sure about that, but they have mountains, so it gets cold up in the mountains.
Yeah.
But that's probably mostly what it is. But there's varied terrain. Of course, I just want to go to Beirut. I mean, at least at first, that's like, well, I'm just going to go to Beirut.
You could probably go help rebuild it. It would be beautiful.
Yeah, that sounds
in my
like
lifetime, I've seen Beirut get blown up like 3 times.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. You're right.
Including the one recently with the huge explosion.
Dude, that was so scary. That was within the year.
You showed me that
wild.
video of the port.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Was it a port? But I thought it even went through downtown a little bit.
No, the explosion was from the port.
Right, and it ripped through a little bit of downtown.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Like if we had something ripped through downtown Manhattan, like we would just be like, what? That would be a whole nother war.
You could have seen like just three.
Not to laugh at
just
American foreign policy.
Imagine living in a place like that, that being where you were born. You know,
Yeah.
we're lucky enough. Some people wouldn't consider Central New York to be paradise, but just being born in a place like this in the United States, I mean,
we're very lucky in the general sense.
It's
security.
Once you can accept that, it makes your life so much better. Because it's so easy anymore to just say, oh, well, I want this, and this guy has this, so I want it, and be so materialistic. But realistically, we want for nothing. Even our poor barely wants for anything.
Mm-hmm. We're very
not that we should not try to raise a standard of living for everyone, but
oh yeah, it is weird. I don't think about that enough, Deep Homie Gang. Just like gratitude, just in general, just like the fact, like, oh my God, there are so many places to be born in the world, and there are a lot of dangerous places in the world, unfortunately, still. Yeah. And America, or at least upstate New York, outside of Syracuse especially, really isn't particularly dangerous. We're so lucky. It's like mostly safe-ish. Like, it's just, it's amazing. I mean, and you got to change the world, but like, wow. I mean, of course, but
I think that's bad, guys. I feel like I think about that the exact right amount. You know?
You do?
No, what's the right number? Like, I mean, it's very important to occasionally
I am saying
recognize
that people spend so much time arguing and fighting and upset about the way things are, regardless of the president. People are upset, but it's like, yes, and this is pretty dope. Mm-hmm. Like, we're able to just like walk around, drive around, go place to place.
Options of where you want to work, if you want to work.
Options if you want to work, no matter. I mean, we're trying to make it so that it doesn't matter what you look like, what your skin tone, what your gender, what your anything is. That's not the case a lot of places. So this is so cool to be part of the big American project. Growing up in upstate New York, like in terms of people get to just live and not have to worry about a warlord or not have to worry about things being blown
tough
up.
Looking.
Or things. So like I always try to give perspective because we got to make things better, but it's like you got to also. It's like a weird thing, right? You got to try to make things better, but also you got to your feelings got to be grounded on like in these thoughts of like how good we kind of have it at this point in history and this place on the earth.
Yeah.
So, but you went to Orlando where maybe it was a little bit of a downgrade, or not Orlando, but
no, it wasn't. I mean, it was a turbulent time.
Well, you said there was like
life.
Segregated like races. What were you
I wouldn't say it was like it wasn't segregated. Like there wasn't like the teachers were like, okay, black kids over here.
Oh my God,
Spanish kids. It wasn't.
I was wondering what like was each one had their own ghetto.
I just mean like clicky. It was very clicky.
We're not really sure what you are, so you could go either way.
Oh yeah, you know the drill. You know the drill. Sometimes I'm Italian, sometimes I'm Puerto Rican, sometimes.
I always win the award.
It depends on where you
are.
It depends on where you are, what you are, what my facial hair happens to be looking like, what I'm wearing. That could be anything.
Oh yeah, you got the Spartan hair, facial hair right now.
Not so much Dutch. I don't get Dutch a lot.
You don't get Dutch?
No,
okay.
not a big Dutch. Not German.
What do you get, P. Diddy Woods? What do you get?
Swiss.
I don't know, man. I'm just like generic white guy. You know.
So people don't ask a white man. Is that white privilege?
I guess. Oh wait, do you get people going like, "Yo, what are you?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I only had that once from like a drunk dude at a party.
Once?
Yeah.
It was probably me.
It was pretty awkward because I was like, I don't know, man, like 25% Italian, I guess, and that's the strongest thing. The rest is like, I don't know, chop up Northern Europe, and that's me. Like I don't know. I guess I don't. He was like, you don't even know what you are. And I was like, I'm like honest, I'm nice, I'm kind. And he was like, well, I'm 100% Persian. And I was like, I don't know what to do with that. I don't even know what that means. This guys, this is like at a weird party where it was like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, I was like 18 or something or 20. You know? So I don't know.
Oh God.
Well, that's weird, man.
And then I just felt odd because I felt like I referred myself like as a mutt essentially, like as all these different European things just chopped up. And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't, whatever. I'm just trying to be a dude on the planet. And, I kind of felt like he made me feel bad about it.
And then next thing you know, he was swabbing for an Ancestry.com thing.
He must.
So, Paul, if you've been asked where you were really from once in your entire life, Tom, how many times have you been asked where you're really from in your entire life?
Syracuse.
Or told. or told.
It's kind of stupid to even ask that. Why do you? I don't even care. I'm not even mad. It's just kind of stupid. Because we're a hodgepodge nation, it's obvious that they're going to have a zillion different places. But like, it's kind of like, for me, because I'm not even from Lebanon anymore, our family's been in this country for 3 generations. So it's, for where I'm from is from Baldwinsville, New York, outside of Syracuse. I'm just saying this. It's interesting.
But some people still keep some, parts of their culture. Like for us growing up, not so much you. Like the side that spoke a lot of Lebanese, they were around
Arabic. And I'm so annoyed they didn't teach me, dude.
Yeah.
I wish they had taught me.
Yeah, they didn't teach anybody. They really only they spoke it. I don't think they spoke it very much publicly. They spoke it amongst themselves, like when we would have parties and stuff like that. But so like for me growing up, it was a big part of my cultural identity because it was around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It was around for me a little bit until they all passed away. Like I was talking about how I was saying that you and I, in a little ways, have started to pick up the torch of just family traditions.
But we were Roman Catholic. I mean, our grandmother was a huge part of the church. Yeah. So I mean, it's funny how the perception changed after. I remember I was freshman in high school.
Did you have to go to church pretty much most weekends of your life, or
church school?
That was how my life was. I had to go to church every weekend, or it was required.
Yep, I had to go. Every Sunday was always a glorious occasion. And then
was that a hint of sarcasm?
No.
Yo, we did eat fire Lebanese food sometimes growing up with the elderly folks of our family.
Oh, yeah.
We ate some fire bread.
Man, my wife has been going hard with it. My wife has been taking it all up, too. Yeah,
Your wife makes some incredible lamb.
She does. She's a Long Island Italian, and her favorite hobby is cooking. And I am a lucky man. I am a lucky man. It's outrageous. We don't even eat out that much anymore because, like, I'll want something, and I'll tell Nicole that I want it, and then she makes whatever dish it may be. Like even down to I'll be like, I want Caribbean food, and then she just all of a sudden makes like the most glorious like jerk chicken and like yuca.
Wow.
Growing up on the farm, right? Our Uncle George, great guy,
awesome guy. He's my godfather.
Yes, your godfather, Uncle George. So he never got married, and he lived at the farm with his mother and I believe his aunt.
That's City Thomas.
City Thomas and City Rose. So City Rose was his aunt, but. Anytime, I remember fond memories of going down there, and before you get to the house and you could smell the bread being cooked, and you'd walk into the old farmhouse and they would be in there just cooking the most delicious, all packed in this little kitchen. I didn't even know how they did it because we still have the farmhouse in the family and it's all remodeled, but they had like there was a shitter, actually a toilet.
Right.
There was a toilet in the kitchen.
It was behind a curtain, to be fair.
To be fair, yeah, it was like a good toilet, but there was a spiral staircase that went up.
You could look
right down on the toilet. But in any case, so we would go in there and you would get the most delicious fresh pita bread by this old Lebanese woman. Those are fond memories back in the day of that happening.
How would they serve that? Was it butter, olives? How would they serve the pita?
Just a little butter right out of the oven. So
just a little. What didn't they used to like have the lamb of butter? Remember the lamb or the sheep or whatever it is? Like
I do. Yeah, now
you would buy that one.
Yeah, I know exactly. Do you remember when they used to have like molded butter?
The malted butter?
Molded.
And we're not talking about the state fair. We're not talking about the state fair either. We're talking about
molded in a certain shape.
It was always
it was a lamb or a sheep, I think, wasn't it?
For the holidays, they would get maybe Easter. They would get
I think I do vaguely remember this. Yeah.
But there was a lot of fond memories of the old farm. It's still in the family, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
So it's actually better than ever over there.
Yeah.
We got a compound. It's the old Anthony compound. And now my brother actually has that house, the original house that the family ended up in. And Ian, little brother, is moving into the other side of it. It's like a rite of passage. You end up in the farmhouse.
So how often are we eating this bread, though? Because now I'm hungry.
I don't know, man. Nicole makes it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, wait, so it's like how do you make pita? You stretch it out like you would, so there's like almost like the way you would have dough for a pizza, but you stretch it way out or something? Like super flat? How does this work?
I just eat it.
I thought that pita was like stretched way across the kitchen. You never saw that part?
Do you guys remember like it was when we were pretty young, but like when pita was like the new health craze?
It still is, man. Pita ain't no.
People still are into pita.
Yeah,
Pita ain't no joke.
Was that
no? Pita is the universal bread.
They got a pita pit right on Marshall Street, bro.
Culturally for you guys, like taking over.
No, every week. No, but like every Sunday though, when we used to go to cities and stuff, like even as he was getting older, as I was.
Where's
getting older.
cities?
Our city is the word for grandmother.
Oh, our
like
city.
Lebanese Arabic or an Arabic.
Okay.
Yeah. Jiddi, a grandfather.
Okay.
Our Jiddi passed away at a long time ago.
But I think Jiddu. So there's Jiddi and Jiddu, and it's denoted by male or your maternal or paternal grandparents.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
specific
because
to
there's
whether or
Situ
not-
as well.
okay.
Situ and Siti, and then Jiddi and Jiddu, but it
Nice.
signifies paternal.
Nice.
But those
Or
are
maternal.
basically saying they're specific for this is my mom's grandpa or
Yes.
my mom's father
Yeah.
versus my dad's father.
Interesting designation too. I mean, some cultures might do that, but I wasn't familiar with it before
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah.
It's cool that Lebanese culture is so familially
It's really interesting.
thinking about those relationships. Man, I do miss the pita, man. I do miss the.
Well, when Nicole makes it, that's glorious.
Give me a call, man.
Yeah,
Do you guys just butter that up, or do you actually like?
Well,
when you
so
go to
as
the
it comes
pita
out of
pit,
the oven,
you go to the
you
pita
gotta
pit, you
get
load
it.
it up, and you eat it.
Well, sometimes
with
we would have
veggies,
on Sundays at least. We would just load the eggs in there.
Yeah.
the Kalamata olives,
Ooh,
Cheese,
the
farmer's
Kalamatas?
cheese.
the farmer's cheese, the Kalamata.
Yeah.
Farmer's
yeah.
cheese. That's like, is that almost like a kind of matzo almost?
Yeah, I guess
well,
it is.
it's kind of like a
Similar to
string cheese, right?
No.
No?
So, like the farmer's cheese is very easy to make. Nicole has actually made it, but it's like a little puck, and it's really like mozzarella-y, but more milky. It's a very basic cheese.
So somewhere between maybe cream cheese and mozzarella.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Wow.
more watery. It's
But
more
more
water.
watery.
It's more watery, and then. But the string cheese, or as Samir's, our local Haji Mart, is that's like that's usually called like a Syrian cheese. It's like a nod. It's like a nod of cheese, like a string cheese. That's peppered.
Man, hot, but bro,
Pepper
Samir's is
meaning-
tremendous.
Cracked
Samir's is tremendous. What are you kidding me?
Cracked peppercorn, or you mean there's peppers throughout it?
No, like cracked peppercorn throughout it.
Oh, okay.
It's like in the cheese.
You know what I wear?
should
This is a little
we
bit.
roll up to that spot soon?
Yeah, we should
check it out.
definitely.
Check
The
it
only bad
out.
thing about Samir's is that no, everything's good about Samir's.
That
but
they must be
right
paying
now,
off the health
no,
inspector?
right now during COVID, they're not preparing food for people.
Oh,
Like a lot of
that's right.
businesses are.
They have a good cheese market too. You know,
Yeah.
it was unfortunate.
You know
we
what-
had a great Mediterranean market called Tano's. Do you remember Tano's?
No.
Right here on Wolf Street. Oh, well, not right here anymore. I'm thinking of your other spot, but
Yeah, the old spot. On the
oh
north side.
man,
We're on the south
Tano's
side
was
now.
a glorious place. They used to be right next
You know
to
how
Columbus
fast it is
Bakery.
for me to get to the north side though, because of 81, bro. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
lucky that they haven't torn it down yet. Because today, for example, I actually went up I went to mass up at Assumption Church.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there before?
No.
Like, I
Wait, is that the giant church, the purple church?
It's a huge church on the north side, right on North Salina Street. Literally, dude, it's one of the most beautiful churches. Like the
So
whole
all
ceiling-
painted and everything.
all the ceilings like marble painted, dude. It's on like white marble painted. It's like crazy.
Where is this?
This is right off North Salina Street.
You know, when we go to Montreal and Quebec and everything, we always go to the basilicas.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And now
I-
here I am, not realizing that I could walk.
Well, that's
in
one of
down
the coolest
any
things
street.
I
about the
am going
Catholic
to
experience.
make the cheesiest joke of this podcast. Okay, I know I've made some
But
cheesy ones.
you got rim shot over
Mozzarella
there.
You guys ready? So I actually used to go to the church that was built before the Assumption Church.
Okay.
It was called Presumption.
Oh, dude.
I think I'll show myself out. Just make
sure All right, tip your all right, servers. all right.
Just leave. Yeah.
I'd be here all night.
You know, we've had a great time.
Where's the popsicle? I
We've
gotta
had a
write
great
that
time.
down.
Yeah, no. That's pretty funny about the Presumption Church. I would just happen to say, like, well, that's one of the interesting things about what we are, our culture, you know, is that it's just I don't know, the Catholic religion, whatever you say, whatever, but there's some beautiful
Yeah, man.
churches and
Oh,
facilities.
yeah, there is.
There is
For real.
absolutely.
Great masonry, really.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay. So, graduated from high school, went down to Florida, and actually I ended up I always had an interest in sales. I always had a knack for selling things, and I mean, even in high school, I would always horse trade if I could buy somebody's speakers, car audio.
So you were a hustler.
I was a hustler.
kid.
I was was
Yeah.
a hustling kid. Like
Yeah.
you know, I had expensive taste, and I always wanted to have money in my pocket, so I always found a way. Went down to Florida, so I'm gonna give car sales a try. Car sales is one of the hardest things you can ever do. If you're gonna break into sales, or if you ever want to have like a crash course in sales, go try to sell a car. It is the coldest situation you can go into. Everybody already assumes you're a scum.
Wait,
right?
hang on. How old were you when you were a car salesman?
18, 19.
So you just getting out of high school.
Just getting out of
lots
high
of us,
school.
lots of us green out of high school. We went right to college.
No.
P and I both, but in your case, you went right into sales on the car lot.
On the car lot. And I did good with it. I was young. I was 18, 19.
That's a skill that a lot of people
Yeah,
do not
that
have.
was
Is
a
the
great-
ability to sell a car to somebody.
Can I ask, same part of Florida that you were in for your
Yeah,
high
like
school?
Orlando, Kissimmee area.
Okay, so
yeah.
you still have family nearby.
Yeah, I still have a lot of family in Florida as we speak. I still spend a lot of time down there. So that was a great thing. I did well at it, but I wasn't I wasn't focused. I mean, 18, 19 years old, you're trying to find your way. I bought a crotch rocket, you know, making money, spending money, fast living. And then from there, I transitioned into motorcycle and boat sales. Motorcycle boats, I worked at it was a place called Central Florida Power Sports. And that was a natural transition for me because I could sell the emotion. Now I had the sales skills. I had the know-how from the racing days and the industry. And now I was able to put all that together with the motorcycles. And that was a home run because it was such an easier sell. Plus I could sell the emotion. So from motorcycle sales, and the recession happened. Florida took a beating during the recession. Good thing about up here in Central New York.
We're really on a timeline right now. So we're right back in 2008 or so, 2009, right?
Yeah. So now we're back in like
was that when the crash was?
So this was after car sales.
Was it 07 was the crash?
Yeah.
Somewhere around 07ish.
Yeah. That happened. You know, power sports being a luxury.
Yeah.
You know, it was different than during COVID, but when power sports being a luxury in Florida in general, I mean, at the time, their economy was geared a lot towards, especially in the Kissimmee area, you know, tourism. People weren't spending money like that. They weren't spending $5,000 to go to Disney.
Yeah.
You know, that happened. I was living in Port St. John at this point, and I missed home. I wanted to be home. I hadn't been talking to my father. So
were motorcycles harder to sell during the Depression, or people still kind of?
No, they were still selling, but people were downsizing.
You were saying earlier before the podcast that when the difference between cars and motorcycle sales is like it's a little easier with motorcycle sales.
Oh, it's easy
because people are coming to buy a motorcycle.
They're excited.
Whereas people are going to shopping around car lots, so they're not even
sure. They don't really want to spend
maybe not.
money. It's a lot of money. It's a big investment.
Yeah, they're trying to haggle you down. But motorcycles, like this is a whole enthusiast thing. So
and cars you sell miles per gallon, and motorcycles you sell smiles per gallon. That's the difference.
Plus, it's a zillion miles per gallon almost no matter what you do.
Did you invent that? Or?
No. That's actually an old like musclehead edge. It's like when you're trying to grapple with the price of something, you're like, but how many smiles per gallon? Like, how much does it cost, but how many smiles per gallon do you get?
Now the Depression hits, you end up leaving that.
Yeah, so I called my old man up. We hadn't been talking. I called him up. He owned the construction company. Yeah. He needed superintendents at the time. He said, why don't you come work for me? And then away we went. I went out. I hit the road.
You were on the road a lot, driving
frequently,
miles and miles and miles.
So
road music.
So I listened. I traveled all over the place. I actually ended up meeting my wife, Nicole.
On a job site, right?
Oh, no. Yeah, she was Thailand.
No, I'm sorry. You were on Italian. You were working down there on a job, rather, at the time, right?
Yeah. No. So actually, a guy that worked for my father.
She's a foreman.
Yeah, she was actually my foreman. So. A guy that worked for my father, it was actually his daughter. Him and I became friends, and then I met his daughter. And so I met my daughter through the traveling, and I learned a lot because it was just, you know, sometimes you'd be on a job for 2 weeks, sometimes you'd be on a job for 2 months, sometimes you'd be on a job for 4 months, you know. But every time it was being introduced to a new crew because it was all over the country, a new set of characters, and then having to orchestrate it and manage it.
I gotcha.
Sounds like you'd have a lot like similar experiences to like maybe a traveling nurse or somebody like that who really is bouncing around the country, setting up shop for a couple months, getting equated, and then have to leave and move to the next job. Yeah,
I mean, but in retrospect, looking back on it, because I never had a lot of stability growing up, it's always given me the ability to be fluid, to be put into a situation, and I think so, and thrive or adapt. And that was huge for me. I mean, there was negative impacts, obviously, too, but...
Did you have to be a jack of all trades on those sort of job sites?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you'd end up having to... I learned a lot out of necessity. I learned a lot, from watching guys, and learned a lot from being let down and being like, well, I guess I'm the dude that's doing it. Like, I guess I'm doing this now,
How would you describe a job site? What kind of things are you building?
We did like a lot of gym. Well, the gyms were towards the end, but I did a lot of like restaurants, like food court restaurants, some gas stations.
So this is a commercial work.
Commercial. Yeah, it was commercial.
Yeah.
It wasn't my gig. I mean, I did well at it, but I didn't. It wasn't my vibe. It was a necessary evil. And I shouldn't even say that. I had a great experience.
So you were kind of like you were one of the arms of the operation, stretching out of Syracuse to go out and supervise things away. Whereas your father and whatnot, the rest of Ancor is not trying to go all the way out there. So you're like in their stead.
Yeah. So you would have like your project managers in the office, and then
you're like a mini boss. Like you were like.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Like you're managing your own little business.
Right.
You're managing maybe a couple of them at a time, but I wasn't seeing all the numbers. I wasn't seeing all the books, obviously, but it was still okay.
So this is your project. You had a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
You can't just drop the ball and be like, whatever. No. You were there to lead the crew.
Exactly. Yeah, and
that's
be the face of the company. It was, and I mean, I was fortunate enough to be given that given that position, because my father owned the company.
Yeah.
I grew up around it all as well, but I mean, for me to go ahead and say, I was super qualified to be doing it, I think.
But you had a lot of skills, like already with all the probably with the race team and stuff like that. Did you were you repairing the motorcycle? The snowmobiles and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody worked, for the most part. Everybody
but like not everybody has this skill set, man. Like a lot of people are just like mechanical dummies going through the world, and they do other things that are different. But like, so this is all coalescing, and so
so then, as Nicole and I got together, and we understood that we were sacrificing. Like I was on the road. I was on the road all the time.
Yeah.
I saw her maybe every other week for a weekend. I mean,
you can be taxed to be on the road. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially we were together for 6-7 years, I think, before I was off the road. Before that, and we maintained a solid relationship. She would come see me. We had a lot of great times. I mean, we lived in Calgary for 4 months. I mean, that was a great experience. She would come with me. We were
in
Canada.
Up in Canada. Yeah,
way up. That's you call it the Texas.
Texas, it's Alberta, Canada. It's the Texas of Canada. So it's like Banff National Park is right,
and that's way up there. Yeah, wow.
Yep. So it's the province of Alberta. It would be the province immediately to the east of British Columbia.
And is it the landscape Rocky Mountains?
Yes. Yep, it's Canadian Rockies. That was an unbelievable place. That was so much fun. There was a distinct difference and like priorities and work ethic up there.
What do you mean by that?
Like here in the United States, it's a hustle. It's a grind, right? Like work is almost first in everybody's list of like what's going on in your life. That's the priority. Making a living. In Canada, it was not like that. Now, when you're building like restaurants that are on like time crunches and it's a very aggressive schedule. Like I'm not even kidding you, man. So one day it rolls around, and actually no, it was like 3 days. Go to the job site, nobody's there. I'm like, man, where are all these contractors? So I'm calling around, I can't get anybody. Finally get through to somebody. I'm like, buddy, it's like Queen's Day. It was Queen's Day. It's like, Queen's Day? What are you talking about? They had like 3 days off for like Queen's Day. So then, next thing you know...
I mean, I like the band, but 3 days in a row,
it was like,
right?
I guess they're still celebrating the monarchy up there. So,
they are.
Yeah, they love it. So another couple weeks go by, nobody's showing up at the job. I'm calling around going, hey, what is going on? Like, why is there nobody on the job? The Calgary Stampede. Are you familiar with the Stampede? It's like the biggest rodeo in the world.
No.
Oh, yeah, the Calgary Stampede is like the whole city.
What do you mean a rodeo?
A rodeo, like a rodeo, man, like a rodeo. Yeah. So
this is Alberta.
This is Alberta. Yeah. So like, yeah.
I saw rodeos on my bike trip in the Panhandle, Texas. Yeah, you're right.
So it's a huge thing up there. It's called the Calgary Stampede.
Yeah.
And so I call everybody up. I'm like, what is going on? Why don't I have crews here? Oh, well, the Stampede's in town. It's like the Stampede,
dude.
It was so dead serious.
Didn't think we needed to mention. We're not coming into work tomorrow.
We're not going to work for a week.
Stampede. I mean, it's Stampede.
So I mean, that was a big thing for me, like to realize, like, wow, there really is like another way of doing things, but also to recognize as much of a bad rap as America gets sometimes. Like our greatest export here is our work ethic. That's what we do here. We work. Mm-hmm. We're workers. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've been to other countries and you see, the general vibe, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if any in particular stand out in my mind. But yeah, different cultures emphasize different things. Some cultures are, going to be more family oriented or whatever, and then it's less about just conquering and getting things done. But that's the pragmatic culture we come from, especially from upstate New York. But of course, you're right. Anywhere, I guess, in America, it's a...
I spent a little time in Argentina.
What was the vibe there?
Did you feel like they
take siestas, bro? They take a midday nap.
I'm for the siesta. I love it.
But the siesta. Okay, but it depends on the country because depending on the country, depending on the sub-region, the siesta might be they're asleep or whatever, or doing something else from 2 to 4 or what have you.
Yeah.
And then they don't come back. But in certain countries, they come back before and go till later.
It seemed like that's what they did.
Yeah, they start going out to dinner at like 11 o'clock.
And I love that. When I lived in Spain, I love the siesta because that's the best time to lay down and just... I'll go back to work after that. But like 3 o'clock in the afternoon when your circadian rhythm is low, you just like, you sleep nice for 20 minutes like in a hammock or something.
I didn't mind chilling out because the time I was
think it's siesta sometimes.
We were on a missions trip. It's like 104 degrees out, like humid.
No,
so like the idea of like, what are we going to do outside at this point? Nothing.
Trying to get something?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying... The siesta is a life hack. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
it is.
I don't do a lot of siestas. I can't do it.
Yeah, you can't do it.
But you're right though. Like if I
do you
home,
get a little lower in your energy level at that particular time?
Of course
3,
I
4
do.
o'clock
After lunch.
That's usually
So after lunch.
You think right after lunch, like 1,
2.
Okay, so it starts from 2, 2, 4, 3, 4, that area. But yeah,
and then around 7, you're ready to get going again. Like let's do
you're
something
right.
with our life. Yeah,
you're right. But it's you can push through it. It's not like it's like midnight.
If you can get past 4 o'clock, you're golden.
Yeah,
You gotta get past 4.
Yeah. Well, anyway, all right. So you're doing all sorts of work. You're the mini job boss on these.
Mini job boss. I like that. That should actually be the title.
Mini job
boss.
Mini
Yeah.
job boss.
Yeah. Like you're the guy that they got to fight at the end of the game. Like, but not at the end of the game.
Not at the game.
In one of the end of the levels in the game.
Yeah.
They got to fight you, but then at the end they got to fight senior.
Yeah. He's the main boss.
What I love is that he's just turned your story into a video game.
It's a metaphor.
Somehow you're the
It's a
villain.
great metaphor too.
Somehow you're the villain, and you're not even the main villain.
Yeah.
That's your story.
Interesting
now
observation.
It's your game.
But the word boss, right, in video games, that's the thing. Like, I'm a millennial. We fought the boss.
You like a boss. Yeah, you're always raging against.
I'm raging against the machine. I'm a secret freaking.
Yeah. So
All right.
I was doing that, and I was just getting to the point where it was.
What was the problem?
I mean, I think it was just more that I want to do my own thing. I had my own ideas of what I wanted to be doing and how I feel like things should be done. I should have been done. I had no right to anything there, or any of my jobs. I mean, I wasn't the owner. And then so I wanted a way off the road. I wanted a more fulfilling life.
And how does the motorcycle accident fall into that way of thinking?
So people watched me get in that motorcycle accident. So what was happening? Me and my wife were on my bike. We actually just had a great camping trip to the Adirondacks. It was like a beautiful late spring day. It was like those first days that are like 72, 75 degrees and sunny. You got your T-shirt on, with fresh air. Things are blooming. Driving down the same road I've driven down my whole life. Go across this one-lane bridge. This woman comes flying over a blind hill. Pulls right out in front of me. I had nowhere to go. I could either go right, go left, or smack into her. Right or left was guardrails on the river. The SUV was straight ahead, so I just got on my brakes, slid the front tire, hit the rear wheel, which is Ford Explorer. I smashed my head. I should find the picture. I smashed my head through the back window. I rolled over the top of the car.
Wait a minute.
Nicole.
No, you did not smack your head through the back window.
There's like a hole in the window.
So you went through the front window and came out the back one?
No,
the
back.
back.
It's like, so if you're looking at Explorer, you've got like the hood, then you got 4 doors, and then you have like the cab, or I don't even know what you call it, like the back of it. That window, the big long one.
So you're saying that you went over, like you kind of.
First, I smashed my head through the window, and then over. So I hit her T-bone. Boom.
Okay.
My legs, handlebars here, so my legs.
How do you hit her T-bone if she's coming on the one-lane bridge?
Yeah.
She wasn't. She was coming across. She's coming across. I'm about to cross over. Here's the one-lane bridge. I'm about to cross over. She came up over this way.
On the right.
There's an
on the right.
intersection.
There's a blind hill. Yeah,
There's an intersection.
It's an intersection.
Were there any stop signs or some kind of?
Oh yeah, but as it turns out, I know small town living that the woman just failed her inspection, and they told her not to drive the car. She rolls out, brakes fail, pulls out in front of me.
Oh my goodness.
Nicole flies over the top of the car, lands on her back. I pop right up. The people that are watching it are like, "Bro, we just watched you do that. You should have been like, Dad, that was unbelievable." But
so your head hit through the window, came out, and then you went over the top of her car.
So yeah, in and then over.
Yeah.
When
so
you
came out, of course, you can't go in because you didn't go through. So it went in and out. You have a helmet on, but still, it goes in, out, over and then you flip probably.
I would have. I wish somebody videoed it.
You don't remember?
Because
you realize that
things like that.
Do you know that I got
so
into an
fast.
accident too? You remember that?
Oh
right?
yeah, the pedal
hit
accident, right?
On my bike. Yeah, on my bicycle. I was on North Salina Street in Syracuse, and somebody tried to pull out, and I hit them. They were at a T-bone because they tried to do a U-turn in the middle of North Salina Street without looking behind them, and I'm coming maybe 15 miles per hour on a bicycle, and I hit them T-bone right, and I went over. I did a couple flips over the front of their car. So you probably flipped too, just because that's how it works. But who knows? You don't remember.
When you T-boned, are you saying that you hit like the middle of the car, or were you?
He hit the back of the car.
Back tire.
Because how could his head hit?
My front tire hit the center of her back wheel.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I went over top. Nicole went over the top. I had picked up a million motorcycles off the ground from racing. Like you just wreck. That's what you do when you push the limit. You wreck. So for me, it wasn't as impactful than for Nicole at the time because Nicole had never been in a situation like that. Nicole had never been in a situation where you're just wrecked something, and, you know. So I hopped right up and I looked for her and she was staying there stiff, like completely stiff. And I was like, oh my God.
Probably thought the worst thoughts.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I just paralyzed my wife. Like, this sucks. I get over to her, and as you know, the ambulance usually tells you to do, I took off her helmet. She had to, you know, moved all. Are you okay? Just shaking her head. Okay? But so as it turns out, she was like in shock because she had never been in such a situation. And she got up and she got to the side, and then the ambulance showed up. You know, there was a lot of drama after that about motorcycle riding and whether we should continue doing it, because it was a big passion of ours. And plus the doctor, the funny thing about a head injury is that when you have a head injury, you don't realize you necessarily have it sometimes. You don't realize how bad it is. You don't realize what you're saying.
Yours or Nicole's?
Mine. She had, like, she twisted up her back. She didn't have like any really long lasting things. But with the head injury,
because your head was the one that went through the back window.
She was behind me. She's on the back seat.
Really didn't.
She just catapulted.
Wow. So you both catapulted, but yours first went through that window and back out, and then over.
So I, as it turns out, I bruised the front of my brain, the back of my brain, my corneas. I didn't even know you could bruise your corneas. Hang on. Just so you know, deep homies, you can bruise your corneas. That's a thing that can happen.
Holy cow! Of course, you both were. You guys were both taken to the hospital.
Taken to the hospital. Yeah.
And so
they were there quick too.
Nice.
Yeah, they were in there jiffy.
With the lady that hit you, did she call? Do you think?
There was like 5 people that watched us.
Right, you were saying that. What were they doing? Fishing or something that day?
No,
off the bridge?
Well, that's how they were just hanging out in the front yard, just doing.
Oh, they were at their house,
just hanging out. Yeah, just doing that. That was the first night's stay. People were outside. They're raking.
Well, I didn't know if there was a house right there or not.
There was, yeah. You know where the Green Bridge is? The
I vaguely know it. Yeah, I feel like I hang out there.
Yeah, everybody knows where the Hemminsville Bridge is.
Everybody in the whole world.
Knows where the Hemminsville Bridge is. Yeah, the only one.
See, I used to hang out on the Plainville Bridge. That's where I used to hang out. That was my spot. And there were a lot of men who would just come down there and they would fish all along the Seneca River. Yep. So I didn't know what was going on over there in Hemdensville.
Well,
and that's the Oswego River, right? I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know. I think so. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've only driven past the 65. I'm going to drive past that on my way home.
Okay, so you guys go to the hospital. You have a bruised cornea and you have a bruised front of your brain.
At that time, because I had a lot of concussions before that.
From all the different racing.
From all the different nonsense. Just I broke my head. I just broke my fall with my head consistently. I had never really broken bones. Head injuries, let's go. I just, why wouldn't you? So
and that's not you can't mess around with that kind of stuff. You know, the CTE and all that. Wow.
Yeah. So away we go to the hospital, and then over the coming months it was just the doctor wouldn't release me for work, and I was just ready. I was just ready for another phase of my life.
And they gave you piles of pills, I remember, right?
Oh, they gave me piles of pills to help the head. Because the thing is, with a head injury, you can't treat a head injury. You can only treat the symptoms. There's no way to. You had head injury.
I mean, did you literally hold ice to your head for a week or two? No,
there was more like, so the light sensitivity was really bad. There was a lot, a lot of light sensitivity, a lot of mood swings, stuff like that. It's just what happens when you get a really bad head injury. I still get some light sensitivity here and there, but not as bad. Like buzzing sounds.
So yeah, how were those the week or two? Was it really, really? So was it mostly just like the trauma of the incident? Like, oh my God, what happened when I exposed my wife, soon-to-be wife to, blah, blah, blah? Or was it more like the actual pain and stuff of the next aftermath? What was it?
What you mean for
just this experience? Like, was it like
like me generally?
What was the worst part?
The worst part? Man, the family was psyched out about it. It was a lot of.
Oh, so you were kind of good after you were like out of the
hospital? But I mean,
I don't know if you had blurry, like if you were really messed up.
No, I mean, I had a head injury when I was much younger, where I smacked my head. I remember I was diving for football. This was actually in Kissimmee. We were playing some backyard football. I dove for a football. This other kid dove at the same time, crown of his head right into my temple. And I remember, I mean, I was young. I was 9 or 10, and I had like TV vision, like like a blurry TV.
Yeah.
Like in the left quarter of my vision for like 2 days. Yeah. I was like vomiting really hard.
Yeah. How's she? I mean, in the end.
She had some back problems for a little bit. I mean, I'm sure they linger still a bit to this day, but she walked away pretty clean from it. Thank God.
Yeah.
So after that, I was out of work. There was a lot of personal things going on, as far as like there was a lot of family dynamic changing, and my father had told me about we had a falling out, and it was a very distinct moment in my life, I remember, where he said to me, you should be working for yourself. This is a man that's already accomplished.
Wait a minute, hang on. I'm trying to sort all this out.
Okay.
Is this the exact same time you hit your head before, after, like similar time?
It was like on the one I went back to Max Flow in a limited, went back to my father's company in like a limited capacity to like what the doctor would let us. But it was just like for me, like the realization, like, okay, well now you got to go back. Like it's either go back.
And now you're having a falling out.
Yeah, I mean, no, it wasn't a falling out like that.
Oh,
no,
you said that. I just wasn't
yeah,
sure.
no,
it was your
no.
words. I wasn't sure what you meant.
No, it wasn't a falling. I guess me and my old man have a passionate relationship. So, you know what I mean? We have a passionate relationship. He's been a great influence on me a lot of my life. He's taught me a lot of great lessons. So, in any case, I remember this distinctly in my mind when it turned was when he said, you should just be working for yourself. I don't know what you're doing. You should just be working for yourself.
Is that you're saying pre or post accident?
This was post accident.
Post accident.
This was post accident.
And you're tying this in a little bit too to the, like what you see as the Lebanese heritage a little bit because you knew a lot of Lebanese in our at least in our family. It seemed like we had a lot of small business owners and all that.
Yes, we did.
And he was sort of like encouraging you to kind of take on the torch almost.
In that particular instance, I don't think that was what influenced it as much as it was just me wanting to be the one that was going to be calling the shots. Me wanting to have more influence. Me wanting to, having a vision of my own that would be hard to maintain while working with somebody else, whether it was your father or anyone.
Just finding the energy within yourself to do this over and over again without actually feeling like
and having
your vision was actually part of the playing field.
Yeah, having the confidence to go put together and make it happen. So I was researching businesses. What do I want to do? Yada, yada, yada. I arrived from actually a tip from my father on the gutter business. And I just knew that, from a pride point, like I wasn't trying to build like a smaller, I shouldn't say, it is a small business, but I was trying to go for it. Like my failure wasn't an option for me. The only option was to put the best work I could do out there, put the best effort I could out there, and do things smartly, market smartly, promote yourself smartly, and make sure every day that you go to work, your customers are happy, and more importantly, the quality that you're putting up is there. Because any business owner, I mean, if you've done business long enough, there's somebody that might say something negative about you. But the worst thing in my business was somebody say something negative about your quality of work. Mm-hmm. So I had always just thought, market sale, like work quality. That's what we do here.
And gutters might have been part of your jobs, right, when you were a mini boss?
Very rarely.
Rarely.
Very rarely.
You kind of had to, YouTube gutter?
Did a lot of, the general construction concepts. Yeah, the general construction concepts we got.
Yeah. How did you actually learn the actual craft if you hadn't done much of it on the job sites previously?
I had formerly raced with a guy that was, he actually owned a gutter company. Okay. And I got a hold of him. Actually met him in Auburn on the way back from New York City. I used to do a lot of work down in Times Square and Manhattan. And on the way back, he lived in Auburn. Met up with him, some dirty backwoods bar, and he gave me like the 10-cent lesson. And then I had already, throughout my other jobs, it really was. Like
the 10-cent lesson in a dirty backwoods bar.
Let's go, folks.
What's a 10-cent lesson?
He's just it's just a metaphor, right?
Yeah, like the 10-cent lesson, like this is what you can expect, this is how things are.
The whip, sip, and peel.
Yeah.
Just this is it and that's that.
This is what we're doing.
And you kind of just picked it up like that from his words.
Well, yeah, so he gave me the ins and outs that you would learn that you could only know from doing it, right?
Okay,
you can learn general business lessons, right? I understood business generally. I understood.
He gave you the lay of the land, though. This is the day-to-day. This is the profit margins you can expect.
This is where we're at with it. This is where this is what you can expect.
I was talking about more like the actual craft of putting a gutter on a house, printing gutters off the press or whatever you might call them.
Yeah, it's an extruder.
Building them or extruding them.
Yeah, so a lot of it, man, I'm not gonna lie. We live in 2000. This was 2014. You can YouTube anything.
That's what I figured. That's why I just said that.
You can YouTube anything. There's a lot of...
my car and stuff, I ever have a little job in my car or something, just...
Yeah. But it was also there's a lot of... In any business, there's a lot of bad podcasters. There's a lot of bad comedians. There's a lot of bad tradesmen. So it was just making sure that we were putting together the best quality. And
this guy gave you the skinny on the business, like Paul was saying, more than the craft. Like I was talking about, you got that more offline.
No, he gave me like a DL. He gave me like a down low on it. He gave me like a down low, but it wasn't.
This was like an hour meeting or something.
You know what? Probably about
Dude, that's
an
tremendous.
hour and a half. It was a quick like, all right, I'm passing through. Let's go.
How many beers was this meeting?
Not many. 3.
Not many.
I guess it depends relative. 3. It was like a 3-beer
A
meeting.
regular
Like a
amount.
six
But I
beer
was
meeting
on my
ends
way
with
home.
you talking about his
Yeah.
dad. Like, I think it's just my father.
Yeah, no, it was so he knew my father as well.
Oh, okay, so he's got
he
background.
and I mean
All
that's
in
how
the
From the racing. From racing.
yeah, from the racing.
Wow.
That's how
Yeah.
So then after living for a bit, some injuries, some head injuries,
Yeah.
but also a lot of different jobs, a lot of life experience.
took a lot out of everything.
You kind
Well,
of
he was
just
saying,
put your stake in the ground and said, I'm going to fully
Paul,
commit.
he was on the road all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's
Adapting.
funny because us,
Frequently
we're comedians,
adapting.
we're like, oh, if only we could be up every night doing stand-up. And what would eventually happen if we were successful in a non-COVID world was we'd be traveling all the time. Well, he got to the point where he was like, I'd rather be like at home with my like family.
I know.
That's freedom for me. That's freedom for you, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I didn't
but
mean to
to
point,
be-
that was freedom for you at
the
that
time.
time.
At the
So you mentioned like self-reflection, like how
Yeah.
much, like can you kind of expand on like how that your mindset changed about how you noticed you became more self-reflective
Well-
and how that impacted your actions going forward?
I think, before the motorcycle accident, and I think even a little bit before that, I starting to soften a little bit. When I was younger,
I think with age, bro, because honestly, maybe it's our hot Lebanese blood, or maybe it's just being a guy, or maybe it's nothing like that at all, and it just happens to be the way in which you and I are a little bit similar. But, when you're younger, you're a teenager, you're kind of hot-headed.
yeah,
For me, at least, I
Yeah.
was. I was angry. I was whatever. I was this, that. I was the other. And
Yeah.
I was just very emotional. And at a certain time, finally, you might kind of mellow
Well,
out. For you, you got smacked
Yeah.
in the head,
Yeah.
which definitely probably impacted things. But also, just as you get a little bit older, you finally start to
yeah. I mean, I
take things in stride.
I look back at it now, and like I was closed-minded a lot, just looking for somebody to blame. You're just an angry guy about a lot of things. I wasn't in a healthy spot in my life, and just so everybody knows, it wasn't like some drug abuse problem, right? Just mentally, I wasn't in a good place. I was doing something that was high stress. It really went
Were you
against.
like burning ants with like magnifying glasses?
Yeah. Just kicking cats. Like, yeah.
Oh, you were? Were you really?
I
What
actually
was-
had cats.
Yeah, I love cats.
Yeah.
don't you insult cats?
Yeah.
On this show, this is a deep homie.
No,
homies-
I wasn't in a good mental spot. I was doing something that I didn't necessarily want to be doing, and I think even then it was just something that my personality even back then didn't lend itself to naturally.
Yeah.
Like my general demeanor didn't lend itself to naturally. And I was doing it for years, but I was also learning so much. I was excelling at it. But so that's once the motorcycle accident happens, and being able to just look back and go, man, how lucky am I? I've got a beautiful, at the time, she was my girlfriend, my fiance. I've got most of my family
Nicole's
around
awesome.
me healthy, and just look back. What am I really trying to do here? What is really my goal here? Where am I? Where am I going to end up?
Where are you going to find satisfaction?
Yeah, where am I going to find satisfaction? And I mean, so every day now, sometimes I can get frustrated with where I am because I want to be further. And that's also part of being successful or trying to be successful, is having the drive to go, okay, this is what I want next, or this is where I want to end up.
Well, I feel like one of the hardest things, Tom, I would think, as you expand the Max Flow business, seamless gutter,
Yeah.
it's when you think about people criticizing corporations and stuff, they think about how they don't pay the workers enough. They
Yeah.
think about how they're impersonal. They think about how they take away from the locality. And so those are all areas you would have to address if you were to expand Max Flow and get more guys and build out from the region. Because it's one thing when, I would imagine, when you are overseeing more or less every single job, throughout upstate or throughout Syracuse area. But then, let's say, for example, you were to have a Max Flow come down to South Florida or whatever.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you're up in New York and sometimes you're down in Florida. Then that starts to be that gray area where start to have like, now you got to hire somebody else to work to be the mini boss and all that other stuff. That's where you get to degrees of separation, and then you start to get to. I think it gets harder sometimes to do what you've done so far, which is treat everybody so well and pay everybody so well and do all this other stuff and be so quality as a business.
Well, I think that there's so much opportunity in Central New York. Again, it's easy to say there's not. People say there's not, but
No, there's a lot of crafty guys. There's a lot of hardworking people up here. It's a fruitful area.
It's growing. We're getting the bounce from COVID. People are moving here.
Well, finally, for a long time, the Rust Belt has been in decline.
Yeah, but a lot of people are starting to realize,
recently, especially with COVID and stuff, there's been new trends.
Holy moly, we can be out in wide open spaces, right? We can be in wide open spaces.
I couldn't believe it when I saw that Syracuse was one of the top places that millennials were moving to.
Dude, listen, really? Cost of living in Central New York is very cheap compared to the wages. Yeah. Like in relation to what the average wage is, cost of living in Central New York is very cheap. Okay. It is. Like, because everybody goes, oh, well, there's no income tax in Florida or Texas or this and that. Yeah. Go buy a house in Texas. Go try to buy that same house you're going to buy here.
Shh, don't give away our secrets.
Don't
give away our secrets.
Yeah, okay, so
how cheap
my house
real estate is up here compared to the national average.
Wages are relative. It's, you make this much, but how far does it go?
Up here, we get a good, in my business especially, but we get a good bounce from the Northeast bounce for wages. I mean, when you go down to a lot of places down south, the nicest places are filled with people that made their living up north.
No, he talks about this a lot, Paul.
It's true.
He talks a lot about how when he goes, this is why he's actually been reluctant to move anything down, any asset share down to South Florida or Florida because of the lower
so much
standard of living and the lower wages and all that, right? The lower pay on jobs.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, of course, people that live in New York City are like, oh, I got to get out of here. My rent is $7,700 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Not anymore.
No, you got a smoking deal. Go down there.
Now it's now at $6,700.
Yeah. But I mean, up here in the Northeast, you get a big bounce on wages, and there's.
You're saying when you say bounce, you mean there's like a reverberating effect from New York City and all the other major centers, Philly and Boston.
Boston.
It just bounces out, and so even though whatever things are a little bit cheaper around here, we still have higher wages because of that.
Yeah, we have higher wages, and I mean, again, I used to have a different stance on unions than I do now, but unions for me in any industry raise wages. They raise wages. Whether or not you're a full-blown union shop, unions raise wages. Like, I have a lot of family down in Florida. When they tell me what they're paying for gutters down there, I'm like, you better call that guy back and have him do them for that price. Like, it's just like 40 to 60% less down there.
Wow.
It's a lot cheaper. But, I mean, again, when you go to those areas down there, they're not typically filled with people that are making their living. I mean, look at what's happening in Texas right now. Where's that money coming from?
What do you mean by that?
Like the amount of people moving there, the amount of businesses moving there that were, everybody goes, oh, well, all these billion-dollar businesses are leaving. Well, they managed to make $1 billion in California. How much more do you need? Like that sounds like a socialist thing to say, but, California's so awful, New York's so awful, blah, blah. All these businesses are leaving with their billions of dollars. Well, they made them there in the first place. So how bad could it have been? At some point, when you get that big, it does become about greed. Like when you're a company that, Walmart showing how many billions of dollars of profit a year. Well, we're going to move to another state because we can save this much more money in taxes. Like, what the hell? You guys already did it. You used the system. You used the system up here to get where you had to go. Yeah. And now, now they're going to bounce. I guess I hold a little contempt for it. I do. I hold a little contempt for it sometimes.
Yeah.
Cool.
But most of the southern, nice areas of the South are filled with people that came from the North. Made their living from the North.
So what makes Max Flow different from the rest of the pack of seamless gutters up here in upstate New York?
Premium. We go for the right job every time. We don't sell based on price. We sell based on showing up and doing the right job for you. That's it. I mean, there's guys that run around and they skimp on materials. They do less on materials. They try to speed up the job and not do the right job.
You got a whole machine like in your vans and stuff, right?
We got a couple rigs.
What's that all about?
It's called an extruder. So it's about 10 feet long by 28 inches wide. It's got 2 big flat coils on it, and it runs the metal through the machine, forms it into a K-style 5 or 6 inch gutter. There's different profiles, but the standard is 5. It's called a K-style.
Why is it a K-style?
Shape. It's called a K-style. It's the shape.
It's like this?
Come down like this, and then it comes up. Like crown molding. It looks like crown molding when it's done right. But we run around and we specialize. We do a lot of copper work too on the farm. My brother, we have a metal fabrication shop on site too, so it gives us an edge. We can do aluminum work, metal work, copper work. Actually, the Craftsman Inn, which is a well-known restaurant and event center around here, we did all the gutter work, copper work over there. So we just focus on premium work, quality work. That's the main selling point in my business.
Is there a job that you've done that you're most proud of?
That I'm most proud of?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, there's a place called Red Barn 20 up in Casanova, and it's this absolutely beautiful estate up in the top of Kaz.
Okay.
So it's this huge old farmhouse, humongous, and a couple owns it, and they had a successful business, environmental business. They bought this place up here, had a beautiful old barn, and they renovated it over like 3 or 4 years into this absolutely gorgeous, like they do like an event center. It's they do
Like
weddings, weddings, stuff like that.
Kaz is such a beautiful place.
What's it called one more time?
It's called the Red Barn 20.
Red Barn 20.
Yeah, it's right off 20 in Kaz. And both the owners are the nicest people you ever met. It's an absolutely gorgeous view. And, you know, I like to put, I go after a lot of jobs that interest me to, like, I want to do the work. And the price doesn't make a difference to me. I'm not trying to hit home runs on it. It's jobs that I want to do because I take an interest in it. I like my job. And I mean, that place is awesome. It's absolutely gorgeous. You're up on this big building, and it's at the top of a hill. You can see Kaz Lake. You can see all the hills. It's just a great place. Like, it's like a place you don't ever want to leave.
Kaz Lake is interesting because it almost is like right. There's Finger Lakes all through central New York, and then it's like almost a Finger Lake, but not really. It's just a tiny little one right there.
Yeah.
But it's clean.
That's a beautiful area.
It's a beautiful area.
It's a beautiful area. So I mean, that's a really cool job that we did. Obviously, the craftsman. We did all the copper cap work over there. We did the gutter work. We have to go back and finish that gutter work this year. But man, the Red Barn. The Red Barn's probably my favorite place to go, and we go back every year. I mean,
I go back every year.
Oh, yeah, well, it's big.
What do you mean by that? Just to go have a day, or what?
No, they always like so they did one portion of the barn, then they did another barn, then we did the main house, then they have like an auxiliary building. They have it's a big estate up there.
Yeah,
I think it's called Windridge Estate, Red Barn 20.
There's got to be something very, very satisfying about just going back and seeing your own work flourish. And,
it always looks better when you go back. It always does.
Yeah,
when you go back.
Yeah. I was saying you got reoccurring business from them. They're very satisfied. And getting to go back each year and keep adding to
it.
it.
I mean, I even reach out to them. I think we're gonna go up there and do a little bit of random painting, just because I told them, I said, listen, we're running out of gutter work to do, but you guys are awesome, and they're great people. We go up there and we have the crew all loves it too. I mean, it's a challenging job. It's a very challenging job. It's an old house, which means that it's crooked. So when you're trying to put gutters on something, it can be challenging. It was challenging work, but those are the most fun when you're done. Those are the most rewarding when you're like, man, I just, that was a really hard thing that we just did. And a couple times were ready to punch myself in the face over it. But when you're done and you step back, you're like, oh.
And so when you're on the job site with your workers and your guys, like, what is your role? Are you just right there with them in the trenches? What are you doing? Are you more like you're sort of overseeing? How does this work?
Depends on the job. Depends on how big it is. On some jobs we'll have... I'll show up and I'll roll off the gutter, so I'll run the machine and just kind of direct the job. But I was able to take a couple of years ago, we had a big development. As I was growing, I came across a guy that felt underappreciated at his old job, but had a lot of experience, and he was hungry. And we took him in, we treated him like family, and I mean, he's part of the deal now. So he took a lot of the load off me. He's got a big future, and at this point, he's one of my best friends. So it's really just about bringing guys in that can handle the work for you. That's the main thing. As you grow, you need to build your infrastructure. You know what I mean? So my wife we got to the point where the front end was getting so busy that my wife was able to actually leave her career and come in and work with the business. And she came from construction administration. That was her background. So shot right in, and it was a game changer. That was huge.
And so now she's answering the phones?
Now she's answering the phone. She's handling all the administration work on the front end.
So all that paperwork?
Everything. I mean, for me, I couldn't even keep up. It was just, I don't know if you were around before I had my personal phone, now we had a business phone. It was just, if I was sitting here, I probably would have gotten like 6 phone calls. It was just out of control.
On a Sunday night.
Yeah, people are wild. They'll call you at midnight.
When the word gets out about something, that's a good thing. It's quality.
Or when people's basements are flooding and they need gutters, they tend to call you at any point. So,
I didn't know gutters had to do with that. You mean just gets it away from the house and gets it away from the foundation?
It can flow back in.
Gotcha.
And also, even if you don't have a wet basement, you should still get water away from your foundation, because water is one of the most damaging elements in the world, right? Like the hydrostatic pressure alone, just leaning on walls over the years. That's just
little by little.
Yeah, it's like it's like somebody just leaning on your knees every day, all day. That's
stop that.
Yeah, stop that. Getting tired. Yeah,
just keep leaning on my knees.
Yeah, you can't. The foundations.
You wake up your knees.
The foundations of the knees of your house, right? So
yeah, nice man.
Yeah, that's
cool, man.
I mean, for the gutter fans out there and the Deep Homie world, you got the gutter lesson.
Yeah, there's a lot of gutter fans out there. Man.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, the self-reflection and just the general attitude and being able to bring it into my own thing, and so far making it work has been
awesome.
It's been an absolutely amazing experience, and I love bringing my family along with me. You know, someday we're gonna have a big boat, Karen. We talked about this.
Oh yeah,
someday someday it's gonna be a big boat, and we're all gonna roll out on the big boat.
We're gonna roll out. Where are we gonna? Can you get from here down to the ocean from up here?
Oh yeah.
I guess you just take it all the way to the Hudson and then come down, or
yeah. Well, you take the intercoastals all the way down from what I understand. So I have a deep homie. I'm deep homie-ish like you. You're always doing something different. You're like the most interesting man in the world. We got coast to coast Karam and comedy Karam, podcast Karam. We got all sorts of Karams. Nicole and I are adventurers. Like our goal someday is just to roll out in a boat. I just want to get in a boat and be gone for like a year. They call it a loop. They call it looping. That's like the technical term for it.
I didn't know they had a technical term for this.
Yeah, so there's actually flags that people put on the front of their boat that signify that they're loopers.
Oh, wow.
So you can take the intercoastal all over the United States. I guess there's 2 different loops.
Wow.
It takes about a year. Depends on weather conditions.
Yeah.
But Nicole and I are like a team, man. And I just want to, someday I want to get in a boat and
I had a friend and I, we were
see you later.
We were supposed to huck fin down the Mississippi River, actually.
An actual raft? Since the very beginning, Max Flow has actually been 100% made in America. All of our products.
Awesome
From
sauce.
the very beginning. Before COVID. When guys were like, well, now we can't buy Chinese things anymore. Like, we were already doing it. We were already out there buying 100% made in America. It's fun fact.
That's a really good fact.
I had a thought, and if you want to expand on it, I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like it's too much backtracking, but what's you're a survivor of a TBI, traumatic brain injury, and other brain injuries as well, like me. What is a good day versus a bad day? Did the personality mood swing thing kind of heal up for you, if you will?
No, not all the way. But I mean, that just
dude, if you had just snapped right there, if you're like, what the hell's your problem?
Flip the table.
Like, it would have been great. I tried to say,
you tried to set me up for punching Karam in the face.
I'm trying to play verbal volleyball with you, bro.
I'm just knocked out by
Yeah, that would be napping Karam.
Yeah, that's siesta Karam.
Yeah, that's siesta. He really took those siestas seriously. Right,
dude, coast to coast Karam, though. There's Karam coast to coast. Like,
that's what I'm saying. He should have
it's a radio thing.
You gotta have
the ride at 5.
Yeah. Over and over. Yeah. Even if it's a bike ride.
It's gotta be like the Funkmaster Flex.
I'm gonna cross this nation.
The ride for 5 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
man, that was a crazy trip.
Yeah, introducing Yogi Karam, a.k.a. West Coast Karam, a.k.a. Coast to Coast Karam. Bum, bum, bum.
No, like, as a skateboarder, and as somebody whose sister lives in California and I visited so many times and rode from East Coast to West Coast, I actually do feel like I am East Coast and West Coast. I take a lot of influence from West Coast, and I do feel like I'm Eastern religion, which is like Asian religion, you know, with all the meditation and all the Zen and all the yoga, and I'm Western religion with all the Catholicism and all the rest.
A.k.a. Chuckles
So
Karam.
I am coast to coast free. I mean, it's just East West everywhere.
Quick question, guys. Who's got
Deep
the
homie
best
East
air horn
West
here? Have you guys
That's what I would say.
Can you do yours?
I was so bummed out. I told him, I said, I need it. If I ever make another appearance and I am not introduced with a reggae horn, I'm leaving.
I'm reggae done. Horn. That's
what it's called.
That's a reggae horn. I thought it was called an air horn.
It's called a reggae horn.
Oh.
Let's see. Let's find it, Karen.
I just found.
And also the bomb sound. That's isn't it called a reggae horn?
All right, we'll do this again.
All right, try yours. Let's have a competition.
Welcome back to the Deep Homie Guide, and this evening we're going to be talking with local business owner Tom Anthony Jr. How you doing, Tom?
You have to have a lot of AKAs. The only way to
AKA I keep going.
AKA West Coast Karam.
AKA West Coast Tom. From West Coast to East Coast to Calgary, it's Tom Anthony Jr. Yeah, baby, yeah. This is the worst sample on YouTube ever. It like waits for like 4 seconds before it plays.
Can you do like so it's not like a button. It's not like a mixer.
No, he's on YouTube. What do you think he's doing?
I thought he had like a soundboard.
Oh, I thought we were gonna have an air horn competition.
No, verbal. I'm not good at that.
I'll add it to the soundboard, Tom.
Next time,
time,
I want a hip hop radio station introduction. I want.
He's like this. He's like this sound bowl stuff's not really cutting it for
Oh,
me.
that's not doing it for you.
So
You haven't found a piece. You need.
being the beginning of his introduction.
Oh man.
I will say that. That
No,
was one thing.
for next time we'll have like engines roaring.
Yeah.
And like girls screaming.
Just listen to a Funkmaster Flex introduction
All right.
on Hot 97. It's outrageous. He actually incorporates bomb sounds randomly in the middle of it.
All right, we're gonna finish up this interview here. We've done it's been a great Deep Homie pod. I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
This has been good. Deep.
The time does fly. Holy moly! You want to do 8-hour podcast?
One day, man. Why not? I can go. We could go. I think right now, if we really, really wanted to keep going, we could probably squeeze out another 2 hours.
This is the same thing that we've done at my bar every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is basically the same conversation I think we've had.
You think so? What do you mean?
Like
what do you mean by same conversation?
Like we have touched on all these things. I'm just saying this is what we rap about in the bid. This is what we rap about.
This is real life shit. Like Deep Homie Guide, there's really no
We're
filter.
like this all the time. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we're totally.
It was fun.
No, yeah, we're always just sitting around in a perfect triangle talking about a theme.
Yeah,
but no,
I'm feeling the Deep Homie thing. I'll push it out there.
No, I mean
myself.
the Deep Homie.
Let me listen to it
bro.
first.
The Deep Homie lifestyle. Listen, the Deep Homie lifestyle is just doing the lifestyle, but like in a conscientious manner. So that's why I really appreciate my cousin Tom, because he's a business owner, but he's also looking out for his guys. He's also looking for his environment and for his community. He's
doing better every day. The goal is to do better every day.
Yeah, man.
If you wake up and you consciously try to do better, it compounds.
But what if you're trying to do better as a serial killer?
You would still be a good serial killer. If that was your main focus, if you're trying to be a good serial killer, I don't condone it.
Yeah.
But you got to wake up every day and put your
Slice
best foot forward.
on.
Slice at the
Get
least.
to slicing, baby.
If you're trying to be the best serial killer.
If you're trying to be the best one, you can
If
be.
you're trying to be the best.
You gotta get up early in the morning.
There's a long history of serial killers, though. I mean,
Who? What?
I mean, wasn't Jack the Ripper? He was. There was a
Oh,
lot.
oh.
That's the oldest profession next to prostitution.
Serial killer? I don't think it's a big money.
Since Cain,
That's
dog.
Hitman.
No, since Cain.
Oh.
Since the first human beings. The
Was
second
it a
human
hit?
being.
Was Cain a hit?
Did
Cain kill Abel?
You're right. He was a serial killer.
It's a crime of passion there. It's
He was the first killer.
Wait, was
bro.
Cain the first murder?
Cain was the first murderer.
Huh.
Cain is Abel.
Cain
Killed
killed
his
Abel.
brother at that.
Yeah. Cain is able to kill
I didn't
Abel.
realize that was the first. That was the original. Or what is the original sin? What is the original sin?
The original sin is fall.
Now you guys are getting Catholic.
What is
you
the
don't do
original
these
sin?
things, huh? What is the original sin?
I think being born.
Oh, it comes from the fall.
You're born with the
No, I remember now.
Being white.
The
Being white. It's the new original sin.
in Catholicism, we're baptized. You were baptized, and I were baptized, and this is supposed to be like now you're brought into the church, and now this kind of washes away your original sin to a certain extent. But it does say that
For a donation weekly.
For a weekly donation. But Martin Luther and John Calvin, both Protestant reformers, they affirm that it persisted even after baptism and completely destroyed freedom to do good. Proposed that original sin, including a loss of free will. Anyway, this is all off track. How do we even get to original sin? Wow, we're deep, guys. We're a bunch of philosophers sitting here in Syracuse, New York.
Gutter
Tommy.
philosopher.
Gutter philosophers.
Gutter philosophy.
Yeah.
Look, that's why Deep Homie Gang. We might have to sort of change this logo just to the head.
How-
This man does appear to be taking a shit. So
You and you.
that's the original Sin of
and
Deep
I
Homie podcast.
both know that the best thinking is done
On the shitter.
on the shitter.
How many times do you find
Men have
yourself...
overthrown governments off the shitter.
All right, so I've got a couple final questions to finish up this pod.
Okay.
It's been a lot of fun. Question number one: will you ride a motorcycle these days?
Close course, I probably would. I mean, I would, like on a track. I would go ride a bike. I still very much enjoy motorcycle riding, but I know that my family and my wife's family, it's just, they would not appreciate it. I've put them through enough doing.
So you haven't
why-
ridden since?
No.
Not since?
No, I actually had two bikes when it happened. And then my wife and I had to grapple with whether or not to stop pursuing that particular passion. But, it was time to move on. There's been plenty of other things that I've been able to fill my time with as a deep homie.
As
a deep homie,
yeah,
I
man.
can always find something else.
Plenty of stuff to do.
There's plenty of stuff to do. We got the RV. We're doing like the RV thing now, which is super fun. We just roll out in our house on wheels and go where we may, and
Yeah.
we do that. We do the side by side thing now. Man, honestly, my number one passion is my business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is. I have a lot of fun doing it. I mean, December, January rolls around. I've had enough. I'm ready for the break, but I love what I do. That's a very important thing, is to enjoy. It is to love what you do, and you know, I've been able to fill my time with plenty of other things. Own a home, plenty of projects to do around the house.
This has been a great Deep Homie Guide so far. I've had a great time. Thank you so much for coming on, Tom Anthony Jr.
Thanks.
Cousin Tom.
Ton of fun.
Ton of fun. I'm glad you've been able to come over here, man. Talk about Max Flow. Really cool that you're growing this company, keeping guys employed in Central New York. Nothing better.
No, there's nothing better. And parting words, man. If you're gonna go do your own thing, be ready. It's scary. It's exciting. It's risky. There's a lot of anxious moments, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights. If you can weather that storm and you can get to the finish line, it's a great thing. It's a great thing if you're ready for it. It's a great thing.
Yeah. So you recommend it to anybody who maybe is on the fence about starting their own venture? I mean, a lot of ventures fail. That's the thing. You managed to survive, which is really cool.
So far.
Yeah.
I mean, we're past the big hump, which is the 5-year mark.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the odds of you failing after the 5-year mark start to go down drastically. A 10-year company, you're pretty much there for the long haul after 10 years if you play your cards right and you maintain consistency. Yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's for everybody, because even when you have gotten to a point where you know you've made it and you're established, still a lot of work, still a lot of risk. It isn't for everybody. But if you have that feeling, just be prepared and go as hard as you can. That's what it is. Go as hard as you can.
All right. Parting words from the small businessman from Syracuse, New York, growing all the time, doing a big thing out here in Central New York. You know,
CNY, let's go.
CNY, let's go. Man, this has been a fun podcast. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much again, one more time, for coming on. Let's have a round of applause for Tom.
Hopefully, an applause for the whole thing.
Yeah, man.
An applause for the whole thing.
It's been a great Deep Homie guide
I was
today.
terrified. This was growth today. I was terrified to come
man.
do this. This was growth today.
All right, well, this has been the Deep Homie Guide to the 21st Century. Today is March 7th, 2021. This has been so fun with Tom Anthony Jr., owner, founder, Max Flow Seamless Cutters. This has been the Deep Homie Guide. This has been Deep Homie K, P. Daddy Woods, and hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Remember, keep it deep, homies.
All right, that's it, guys.
That's it, huh? That's fun.